Material wealth means everything. All right, we're going to start with that first full paragraph. We have said that an individual gets rich by doing things in a certain way. In order to do so, you must become able to think in a certain way. Your way of doing things is a direct result of the way you think about things. So I'm going to take a pause at every paragraph. It's a short 2-pager today that we're covering. Okay, I'm going to do some application of it. If you want to do things a certain way, you got to think in a certain way. To do things in a way you want to do them, you will have to acquire the ability to think the way you want to think. This is the first step towards getting rich in all areas of life. To think what you want to think is to think truth regardless of appearances. Pause. Think about what truth means. To think about truth regardless of appearances. What is truth? What is appearances? Okay. I want you to think about that. Throw in the chat box whatever your answer is. What does he talk about? What's truth mean and what does appearances mean? This is the entire thing that we're covering today, those two ideas. So what does Wallace D. Wattles mean in Science of Getting Rich when he says the truth and the appearance of things? What do you think that means? And don't worry about being right or wrong. There's no test. Maybe I am in the background. I'm taking notes. Oh, Bailey, you got the wrong answer. So right in the chat box there. What do you think it means by truth and appearances? Now, some of you have read this with me, actually, months ago, so you should really know what this means. What ideas do we have? Liz nailed it. Spiritual truths and physical evidence. So physical evidence meaning appearance of things. Hollis goes for difference between subconscious and conscious. I like it, Sarah. Appearance is the effect. Truth is the cause. Thinking, the source. Like it. What else do we have out there? Make a good guess. They'll get you to think about this stuff, not just know it. Art quotes reality in quotations and then reality in capital letters. Any other guesses? Truth and the appearance of things. Cleo chimes in, Jim and Lorraine. Excellent. Okay. Let's go right into it. I'm going to say that paragraph one more time, and then we're going to the next one. To do things in a way you want to do them, you will have to acquire the ability to think the way you want to think. This is the first step towards getting rich. To think what you want to think is to think truth regardless of appearances. We all have on this call the natural and inherent power to think what you want to think. But it requires far more effort to do so than it does to think the thoughts which are suggested by appearances. To think according to appearances is easy. To think about truth, regardless of appearances, is laborious and requires the expenditure of more power than any other work you will have to perform. Clues you in a little bit more on what truth and appearances are. Now let's kind of clue into it. You have the natural and inherent power to think what you want to think. So I'm repeating this paragraph. But it requires far more effort to do so than it does to think the thoughts which are suggested by appearances. Okay? It is hard to think about your goal, your desires and things when it's not physically here. It is easier to think about the appearance of things. What's the appearance of things? What's going on physically? Your bank statement. It's easy to think about where your money is. Or if you look at your sales, it's easy to think about how many sales you did last month. It's easy to think about your relationships, how they are currently, not as you want them to be. It's easy just to go through the grind of life, the daily activity of life, and not think about your goal at all. It's easy. Most human beings try and go the easy way all the time, so that's why they're not making big progress, because it's hard to think about your goal every day. Okay? The truth of what he's talking about, Liz, you said it best, was the spiritual truth. That all things are created by our thoughts and our source within, our godlike power, whatever we have, whatever you want to call that, that is that energy, okay? So the truth of things is the spiritual truth. It is what we affirm out loud. The truth is our goal. So you can replace the truth word with your goal, your desires, whatever you want to say. It's harder to think about your desires, the truth of things, compared to the appearance of things, what is. It's very important, this next line. I hope you key into every word here. There is no labor from which most people shrink as they do from that of sustained and consecutive thought. It is the hardest work in the world. That's why it's so hard to change for most people. I'm going to say that line one more time. I hope you grabbed it. There is no labor from which most people shrink, as most people get away from and not do, as they do from that of sustained and consecutive thought about what they want. It's the hardest work in the world. Sustained and consecutive thought every day and doing the study that it's going to take, paying the price to actually get your goal. Let's keep going. This is especially true when truth is contrary to appearances. Say it again. This is especially true when truth is contrary to appearances. Scenario. I'm going to make a genetic scenario coming up. Okay. Scenario comes up. That you've had low income and you don't have enough money to pay the bills at the end of the month. No, I don't think that's anyone here. But I'm just saying, let's think of a theoretical scenario where it's pretty intense for most people. Okay. I think we've all been in that story at some point in our lives, whether it's years ago or last year. If that's the appearance of things, this is especially true when the truth is contrary to appearances. If your truth is to have $25,000 per month coming in, and the appearance of things is you're going through this scenario, it is very difficult for most people to think about what they want when they're in this scenario that is hell for them, hell on earth. Hard to think of heaven on earth when you're in hell. That's what he's talking about. Every appearance in the visible world tends to produce a corresponding form in the mind which observes it. This can only be prevented by holding the thought of the truth. I want you to think about what that means. Every appearance, every physical evidence, all things that are happening in your moment, in this lifetime, right here, in this hour, in this minute, every appearance in the visible world tends to produce a corresponding form in the mind which observes it. This can only be prevented by holding the thought of the truth. What do you think that one means? So every time I could just go rattle through this, but right, I'm trying to get you to think about, wow, I see this, I see the connection here, right? So it should be a fun little game that says, wow, what does this actually mean? So I encourage you to throw this one into the chat box as well. I know a lot of you chimed in here. John, you nailed it there. Don't let your results dictate your thinking. Let your thinking dictate your results. Nailed it. Thinking and results, right? Anybody else have another perception about it, perspective? Every appearance in the visible world tends to produce a corresponding form in the mind which observes it. This can only be prevented by holding thought of the truth. Let's keep going. Everyone's chiming in with some good ideas here. To look upon the appearance of disease will produce the form of disease in your own minds and ultimately in your body. Instead, you must hold the thought of the truth, which is that there is no disease. Disease is only an appearance and the reality is perfect health. To look upon the appearances of poverty or lack will produce corresponding forms in your mind. Instead, you must hold to the truth that there is no poverty. There is only abundance. One more paragraph. It requires power to think health when surrounded by the appearance